So this is lesson 7.2b, elementary algebra, and we are ready for example 6, so I'm going to pause here while I write that out. Okay, there we go. And remember what I said, when you have one fraction here and then the rest of them are not fractions, we're just going to make that into one fraction. Put that all over 1 so then we can multiply. So this is already simplified. That's simplified, that's simplified. So this is the only one that has to be changed. So we are going to write this where everything in the top is going to stay the same. And we'll factor out an A. Okay, so not really a whole lot to this. Cancel these. Cancel that with that. And we're left with numbers on top and numbers on the bottom over 1 if you want to put the 1 there, but you don't have to. And that ends up being your answer. Okay, so what I want to do is the next section is on unit analysis, but before we do that, let's do some of the problems from the problem set that have to do with this multiplying and dividing these rational expressions. So I'm going to do number 28 just because I want you to get used to things being a little goofy, and then we'll fix them. Okay, so let's go ahead and simplify. Simplify the numerator. So on problems like this, you're going to have to spend some time, kind of do this, spend some time working on that, working on that, working on that, working on that, and then coming back and putting it all together once it's simplified. Alright, so this one right here, we're going to have to kind of do some work on it and get it simplified. So it's going to be a little bit of a process. Remember, 5 times 1 is 5. So we're finding two numbers added up to give us 5, or multiplied to give us 5, added give us a negative 6. So we end up with 5y squared minus 5y minus 1y plus 1. So negative 5 times negative 1 is positive 5. Negative 5 minus 1 is a negative 6 here. So remember, we replace negative 5y in the negative 1y. We replace the negative 6 with that. Then we do the grouping. So we can factor out a 5y here, and we're left with a y minus 1. And we can factor out a 1 there, I guess. I mean, that's pretty much all we've got. And we do that. Now remember, we put a parenthesis around this. That pulled this negative out, which means this has to change signs. So the y changed from a negative y to a positive y, and the 1 changed from a positive y to a negative y. So now my simplified version is 5y minus 1 times y minus 1. So all I've done at this point is simplified this numerator right here, okay, into that. So the second step is, let's work on the 1 minus y squared. So 1 minus y squared. Now we're going to flip that around. And then pull out a negative. The inside becomes a positive y squared minus 1. And then this changes. It's a difference of two squares. I can take two y's and multiply them and get a y squared. And I can take two 1's and multiply them and get them a 1. Okay, so I end up with that. So this is this simplified. Okay? So, gosh, where am I going to put all this? Let's put a circle, box it in, and we can come back and put it in the right place later. So there's the top, and there's the bottom of that first equation. Now let's see if I can get rid of some stuff or move some things around. but I don't want to pause because I don't want you to get lost. Okay, so I'm going to put, let's see, that works. So I can get rid of that, and get rid of that. So here's my top, and there's my bottom. Simplified. Alright, so let's work on that next. So 4y squared plus 7y plus 3. 4 times 3 is 12. Find two numbers multiplied that give me 12, added that give me 7. And I discover that that ends up being 4y plus 3y. Okay. Group, no negative signs to cancel anything. Pull out a 4y and I'm left with a y plus 1. Pull out a 3 and I'm left with a y plus 1. And again, see, those are the same, so I know I did it right. So I have a 4y plus 3 over y plus 1. So let's see if I can move this stuff around. So this right here is this simplified. So I'm going to take this and I'm going to put it down here eventually so that I've got that. So let me go ahead and put it there. And that replaces that there. So all I have left now is to simplify that. And are there two numbers multiplied, or is there a number multiplied by itself that's going to give me 16y squared? Well, 4 times itself is 16, y times itself is y squared. And 3 times 3 is 9, so there's a number there multiplied by itself. So it's the difference of two squares. So let's put that up there. So what I've done is I've replaced this numerator with this one with that, this one with this, and that one with this. Now I go through and cancel. That, and that, that, and that, that, and that. And that's it. What do I have left? I have a 5y minus 1 on top that's left, this one. And I have 4y minus 3 left on the bottom. And that is the answer. So these get not really hard, not really tricky, just a lot of work. Because like in this one, you had to simplify 4 different pieces of this puzzle before you could start canceling things. And the more you have to simplify, the more opportunity you have to make mistakes along the way. So hopefully you've got a solution manual so you can look at your answer when you're done just to make sure you did everything correctly. Brings us to, well, let's see, let's jump down to 46. So I'm going to turn this off. Okay, so this is going to take a little bit of time because again, we have to go through and simplify that, and that. So let's start here. Remember, when you have 4 numbers, we're going to group. So let's see if we can pull anything out of here. We can actually pull out an x squared, can't we? That leaves me with an x minus 5 there. And over here we can pull out a 9 and we're left with an x minus 5, which is good. It's the same here and here. And we can write this as x squared plus 9 and then x minus 5. Normally you can do the difference of two squares here and get x plus 3, x minus 3, but that has to be a minus in order to do that. Since it's a plus, we are done. That is this simplified. Okay, Now let's work on the bottom. So let's move some things around. Let's get rid of this because that was... So this is the top simplified, okay, that we have right there. So this is this simplified. Okay, so let's go ahead and work on the bottom here. And we're going to change, let's just do that over here on the right. We're going to change x to the fourth minus 81. I'm going to write it as x squared squared minus 3 squared. Well, before I do that, I'm skipping a step. Let's write it as x to the fourth minus 3 to the fourth, because 3 times 3 times 3 is 81. And then we'll write it as x squared squared minus 3 squared. In fact, let's not put the parentheses. Squared. Alright, so 2 times 2 is 4, so x to the fourth is the same as x squared squared. 3 times 3 times 3 times 3 is 81. We can write it as this way. And that gives me the difference of two squares. So I've got an x squared in both parentheses, because that is what's being squared over here. 3 is being squared. And then a plus and a minus. So this is x squared plus 9, which I can't do anything about. That's simplified. So let's go ahead and put it up here. X squared plus 9. And then this x squared minus 3 squared is x squared minus 9, which is the difference of two squares. So let's take that and put up here. Okay, so notice we have an x squared plus 9 here and 1 here, so we can just cancel those. Let's just get rid of those right now. And let's see if I can get rid of some of this. Okay, so we had an x squared plus 9 and an x plus 3, x minus 3, and I had said let's cancel that with that. So those are gone. So this is that whole mess up there simplified. Alright, so let's get rid of everything that I've done here, all of my work. And now let's work on this one. So that is going to be 5 times 9 is 45. Two numbers multiplied together give me 45, added give me 18. So it's 15x plus 3x plus 9. Group 5x out of there, a 3 out of there. Those are the same, so 5x plus 3 times x plus 3 is this simplified. So I'm going to replace my numerator with that now. So let's go ahead and put that up here. That was a 5x plus 3 times just a regular old x plus 3. Okay, so last one we have to do is this one right here. 5 times negative 15 is negative 75. So two numbers multiplied together give you negative 75. Added give you a negative 22. So that gives us 5x squared minus 25x plus 3x minus minus 15. Because these are the two numbers that I found multiplied together give us that. Added give us negative 22. Okay. Group 5x, leaving me x minus 5. That's the same as that. So I get 5x plus, let me hit a button here. 5x plus 3, x minus 5. And we'll keep going with 7.2c.